Have you ever just felt completely swamped by information? Like you're trying to figure out these really complex problems,
Sure, definitely.
and every time you think you have a solution, it just seems to create like five new problems.
Yeah, it's that feeling, isn't it, where you pull one thread and the whole thing unravels somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So imagine having, I don't know, like a superpower, something that lets you cut through all that noise,
Yeah.
see the bigger picture,
Mm.
and tackle challenges, well, not just effectively, but maybe even elegantly.
It's like finally understanding how things connect,
Yeah.
How one little change over here suddenly ripples through and affects something way over there that seems totally unrelated.
Yeah.
It's seeing the forest and the trees, sure, but maybe more like the soil, the water, the whole ecosystem working together.
That idea, seeing the whole system, not just the individual bits and pieces, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Hmm.
Talk about systemic thinking. And in a world that's just increasingly driven by tech,
Mm-hmm.
that's always changing, always connected,
Yeah, it's everywhere now.
our sources are highlighting this skill, systemic thinking, as, well, arguably the most powerful technological skill you can possibly have.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To unpack why it's earned that title. We want to explore, its core ideas.
Right.
Look at some really interesting real-world examples and get a proper handle on why it's becoming so essential, really, for anyone who wants to be well-informed and effective today.
So, yeah, get ready. We'll be looking at how this skill helps you anticipate those tricky unintended consequences,
Which are always lurking.
always,
Hmm.
and how it helps drive real innovation, manage risk
Mhm.
across tech, society, even whole organizations.
Hmm. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. So what is systemic thinking really at its core?
Mm-hmm.
Our sources basically define it as an approach, a way of trying to understand how different parts of a system interact.
Okay, how they interact.
Yeah, and how those interactions create these, well, they call them emergent behaviors, things you just can't explain by looking at the individual parts on their own. Emergent behaviors.
Hmm.
Okay, that term really clicks.
Yeah.
How does that actually, play out, especially in modern tech systems?
Yeah.
Because it sounds a bit like trying to debug tangled Christmas lights,
That's actually a great analogy.
Pull one bulb and three others go out somewhere else you totally didn't expect.
That's perfect. It really illustrates those emergent behaviors. Or think of a flock of birds, maybe.
Okay.
No single bird is in charge, right? But these incredible complex patterns just emerge from their simple interactions with their neighbors. That's emergence.
Ah, I see.
Or, Peter Senge, he wrote The Fifth Discipline. He calls it a discipline for seeing the whole, understanding the relationships, recognizing patterns of change, not just isolated little events.
Well, okay, that makes sense. But why is this singled out as the most powerful technological skill? That feels like a pretty bold claim. Our sources really lean into it, though.
They do, yeah, and there's good reason. First off, it directly tackles just how complex modern tech systems are.
Right. The complexity is huge.
Exactly. Think about AI, blockchain, massive internet infrastructure. Professionals need to see the relationships between all the different parts. They need to foresee those unintended results and design solutions that actually consider the entire system. Like the sources mentioned an example, a failure in one tiny part of a 5G network.
Okay.
Systemic thinking helps you see, okay, that's not just going to affect that one part. It could cascade, right? Affect IoT devices, cloud
Very
services.
ripple effect.
Precisely. So it helps designers build resilience into the whole network because they understand where those ripples are likely to hit hardest.
What's striking me here, though, is that this isn't just about the nuts and bolts, the technical stuff. It feels like you're talking about something broader.
Oh, absolutely.
Beyond just, say, making an AI algorithm work better. What are some of those unexpected non-technical dimensions that systemic thinking makes us look at?
And that brings us neatly to the second reason why it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It really helps with multidimensional problem solving.
Multidimensional. Okay.
Yeah, because tech problems today, they're rarely just technical. They almost always involve social aspects, economic ones, environmental factors.
Yeah.
Systemic thinking lets you weave all those dimensions together. Take renewable energy projects. Engineers aren't just optimizing solar panels for peak efficiency.
Right, there's more to it.
They also have to think about the impact on the local community, the economic costs, the long-term environmental sustainability. It's that holistic view that leads to solutions that are actually robust and sustainable because you're solving for the whole system's health, not just one metric.
And it's not just about fixing things that are already broken, is it?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's also about driving new ideas, adapting to change. Our sources mention innovation and adaptability. How does that work?
Well, because you see systems as dynamic, always changing, systemic thinking helps you spot what they call leverage points.
Leverage points.
Yeah, these are like small changes, small actions. They can actually create really big impacts across the whole system.
Oh, okay. Small input, big output.
Exactly. Think about software design. Maybe a change in just one module could dramatically improve the user experience for everyone using the entire system.
Right.
Companies like Tesla are kind of famous for this, aren't they? Integrating hardware, software, services into this single ecosystem. An improvement in one area just amplifies benefits everywhere else.
So it's about making smart, targeted changes, not just massive, disruptive ones that might cause chaos. That makes a lot of sense. And, okay, flipping that coin, it also helps manage risk, right, in these super complex systems.
Absolutely. Because these systems are so interconnected, they're really prone to cascading failures. One thing goes wrong, and it triggers a chain reaction.
Yeah, we see that happen.
Systemic thinking helps you map out those interconnections before things go wrong. You can anticipate risks before they become full-blown crises. Cybersecurity is a perfect example.
How so?
Well, a systemic approach doesn't just look for a vulnerability on one server or one laptop. It looks across the entire network. Servers, endpoints, connections. How could a breach in this one area be used as a doorway into another?
Finding the weak links in the chain.
Exactly. It's about building resilience by understanding those interdependencies that, a more traditional siloed approach might just miss entirely.
To make this even more concrete, our sources had some really good practical examples. Smart cities, for instance. That seems like the ultimate interconnected system.
Oh, definitely. Smart cities are built on these incredibly interwoven systems, transport, energy, communications, you name it.
Right.
And systemic thinking helps a city planner, say, anticipate those unforeseen side effects. Like if you just optimize traffic flow purely for speed, you might accidentally just push congestion into other neighborhoods, maybe even increase pollution there. A systemic approach, though,
Would look broader.
yes, it would integrate traffic data, but maybe also air quality sensors, public transport schedules. The goal isn't just faster commutes. It's faster commutes and cleaner air across the whole city and maybe reduced reliance on cars overall.
That really shows how one intervention, that leverage point idea, can hit multiple interconnected goals.
Exactly. You're looking beyond the immediate fix.
And thinking about, well, recent global stuff. The pandemic really hammered home how crucial this is for global supply chains.
A textbook example, sadly. During COVID, systemic thinking was absolutely key for companies trying to figure out where the bottlenecks were.
Yeah, everything just stopped.
Right. It allowed them to reconfigure logistics, find alternative routes, mitigate the disruptions because they understood the whole network, all the dependencies. And our sources back this up with data, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One mentioned an MIT Sloan article saying systemic thinking is one of the top skills demanded in tech leaders now, helping them navigate uncertainty.
Makes sense.
And another source, I think it was Forbes, reported that companies using systemic approaches in their tech strategy were seeing something like 30% greater efficiency in solving complex problems compared to traditional methods.
30%. That's significant.
It really is a tangible impact.
So, okay, pulling this all together, what does this mean for us, for the listener? It seems pretty clear systemic thinking isn't just a powerful tech skill. It feels more like an imperative, right, for navigating what's coming.
I think that's exactly right. It's an imperative. It's about first acknowledging complexity, not shying away from it. Then integrating those multiple dimensions, the technical, the social, the economic, using that understanding to foster innovation, finding those leverage points.
Why use smart changes?
And crucially, mitigating those big risks that come with highly interconnected systems.
And its importance really does go beyond just the purely technical fields, doesn't it? It bleeds into strategy, decision-making, understanding the wider ripples of any choice.
Absolutely. Which kind of raises an important question for you listening right now. How might you start cultivating this kind of mindset, the systemic mindset, in your own life? Think about maybe one complex issue you're facing. Could be personal, could be professional, instead of just tackling the obvious parts in isolation. How could you try to apply this? Look at the whole system, map out the interconnections. Try to spot those emergent behaviors that arise from how the parts interact.
And maybe look for those leverage points you mentioned, those places where a small effort could make a real difference.
Exactly. Where could you find a leverage point for some truly impactful change? Because really, when you start to see the whole system, sometimes even a small, well-placed action can create a huge positive shift.
Something to think about. Until next time, keep thinking systemically.